Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Wrestling Experience. My name is Earl, ladies and gentlemen, and tonight you landed on that mothership. It's the mothership. It's Planet Experience, and it's tonight. We have a guest today that he's making his debut here on the Wrestling Experience. Josh is here. And we're gonna have fun with him. We're gonna talk about Clash of the Castle. I got a story about Indy Hartwell. I have a shocking story about Vince McMahon. We've got so much to do here today on the Wrestling Experience. So, ladies and gentlemen, stand by. Guys, stand by and get ready to get crunctified here on a Thursday night because it's time to go on the Planet Experience. And it's time for the Wrestling Experience powered and presented by the Hardcore Sports.
Now with the hottest show in the universe, The Wrestling Experience, with your host Joe Cole.
Acknowledge me.
Coming at you with all the dope shit, freshest WWE content, and also the AEW. You are now watching The Experience, The Wrestling Experience. Now with your host Joe Cole.
All right, guys, thank you so much, and welcome back to the Wrestling Experience, powered by the Hardcore Sports. And remember, follow them on Instagram at Hardcore Sports. Follow them on Facebook at Hardcore Sports. Follow them on X at Hardcore Sports. Follow them on Spotify at Hardcore Sports. And of course, subscribe to their YouTube channel and follow them on TikTok. And we hope that you had a great Thursday morning, Thursday afternoon, Thursday evening here at the Hardcore Sports Network. All right. So, but I'm not even going to no. First of all, let me introduce you to my co-host. She is Wisconsin's darling. She is absolutely a delight. She was with me last night, and of course, she's a lot of fun. She has a friend named Bestie, she has a friend named Denty, excuse me, who's her bestie. And ladies and gentlemen, she's here with me tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, let's help me welcome Sarah Ring.
Hi, Earl. How are you?
I'm doing well, Sarah. How are you tonight?
I'm good. I'm glad it's almost Friday.
Exactly. And ladies and gentlemen, he's making his debut here on the Wrestling Experience. Please help me welcome Josh to the show. Let's add him to the screen.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
Hi, Josh. How are you tonight? Welcome to the Wrestling Experience.
Thank you. I'm doing pretty well. Super excited for the show and to make my debut on the Wrestling Experience. And, thanks for having me on here.
Yeah, Sarah, this is Josh. Josh, this is Sarah. And of course, Sarah is my co pilot here on every Thursday on the Wrestling Experience. If you want to know her backstory, Josh, she was a chat member. She was a chat member and she rose up to the ranks. And boy, did she rise up to the ranks. And boy, is she a friend indeed and a friend in need. So we're glad to have her as part of the Hardcore Sports family. So let's just talk about this for a second. We've got a lot on the menu tonight. First of all, we have to rewind the Clash of the Castle. We have to do that. I have a shocking news about Vince McMahon. We're going to talk about that. Then we have something on Indy Hartwell. We're going to talk about that. So we have a lot to discuss. But let's talk about the Clash of the Castle first before we get to these wrestling news. Um, the Clash of the Castle took place last Saturday afternoon in Glasgow, Scotland. And oh boy, wasn't it an eventful event, especially the main event, which we will talk about. And you know what? I'm going to just kick that off. Why not? Why not talk about the main event? Why not? Why not? It was Drew McIntyre taking on Damian Priest. Now, Josh, let me ask you a question. What did you think of the build for this main event?
I think the build was solid. I was really looking forward to the match, especially once that Drew had that match for determining whether Judgment Day was going to be at ringside or not. I was pretty excited. I was actually kind of rooting for Drew. I think they've been building him up pretty solid for quite some time now before WrestleMania. So, and Damian Priest is Damian Priest. He's a solid wrestler. He's a powerhouse. I was super excited for this match. Great build-up, great wrestlers. So,
Sarah, what did you think about the build for this main event?
Oh, I thought the build was good. I mean, they kept it in the forefront. They constantly talked about it up to, leading up to the event. So it was always talked about on Raw, and of course with McIntyre's social media prowess. He always made a point to be talking about the upcoming match. So yeah, I mean, I thought the build for it was fine.
So here's the thing. I thought the build was fine too. The match was fine. I had no issues with the match, but I'm gonna tell you this much: when I predicted the ending, oh geez, oh boy, that ending was absolutely the icing on the controversial cake. Yeah. So. The match, like I said, the match was fine. The match was going like great chemistry, great nuance in the match. Everybody played their part well in the match. Eddie Orango got hit and he got knocked on the outside and he hit the barricade, and that was the end of him for the night. He was counting how many lights the production used in the ceiling. So that was the end of the referee for tonight. That was the end of him. Yeah, that was the end of him. So while we had it down, I had said to Sarah and everyone that was on the chat, I don't know if you ever saw one of my many streams, Josh, but I had said that could you imagine that if Punk wears a rough shirt and he came down and he slid in the ring and he was gonna kind of, and everybody had that impossible look on their face. Like I saw the impossible look on their face, and I said, I think you better listen to what I have to say. But and boy, did it come to fruition. Did it come to fruition?
I flat out told you I thought that was way too far fetched. I was like, Earl, I don't know about that. That seems a bit of a long shot. I could not believe it though. I just kept saying, "Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?" I should have bought lottery tickets today. I should have. Like, I couldn't believe it. You got it down exactly. You called it exactly right. It was crazy.
Josh, let me ask you something. What did you think of the ending, and what did you think about what happened on Raw this past Monday?
Well, so while I did predict him coming out in a ref shirt and taking over as the official referee and screwing Drew McIntyre out of his title that way, I did have a feeling that CM Punk was going to screw over Drew McIntyre in some way, shape, form, or fashion, because while they've done a great job building this feud with Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre, and they've been building both of them up since before WrestleMania. They always managed to keep CM Punk right there, kind of not in the forefront, but almost like the devil on McIntyre's shoulder that was ready to strike at any point in time. So we kind of had that feel like this could be a great match. Drew could win, Damian could win, but CM Punk could also be lingering around, especially with talks about him being close to being medically cleared, right before that. So I'm not surprised. I wasn't expecting a ref shirt, but not surprised that CM Punk screwed over Drew McIntyre. I think that may be the feud of the summer for sure.
Yeah, well, I have an update about McIntyre where I'm gonna read that as soon as we go through the card. But let's just talk about this. Sarah, what did you make of the ending though? What did you think of it?
I thought it was glorious. I loved it. Like I said, that was the match I was looking forward to the most, just for the pure fact I wanted to see what CM Punk was going to do and how he was going to screw McIntyre over. I think we all knew he was going to be there. And I made a point of bringing up, I said, okay, we haven't seen Punk on Raw. We haven't heard a word from him in like a month. He most definitely is going to do something at Clash at the Castle to mess with Drew McIntyre. And boy, did he. I thought it was fantastic, especially the look on his face when you could see him just from the back and he was counting one, counting two. All of a sudden, Drew McIntyre sits up and the look on Drew's face and the other camera pans around. And that, part of my language, that shit-eating grin that Punk had on his face as he held up the two, I was like, this is awesome. This is amazing. Like, I loved it. And I mean, I love Punk. I'm a Punk fan. So it doesn't, this kind of stuff doesn't bother me at all. And they've, like you said, Josh, they have got a killer feud going right now. It's definitely what everybody talks about. People talk about it all the time, the feud, the back and forth between Punk and Drew. And it's just another positive thing that WWE has been doing since Punk got injured. So I think it's great that they've been able to keep him involved in some way while he's been, getting a surgery and rehabbing and everything. So I think it's brilliant. So yeah, that's my thoughts. I thought the ending was fantastic.
I'm going to tell you something. I couldn't have scripted a better ending than what we got.
Got that right. That was so crazy.
Oh,
And
man.
I mean, this was absolutely. I sat there and I was thinking in my head. I was going back and forth in my head because here's the thing. I've been a wrestling fan for a very long time, as everyone knows, and I always come up with different scenarios. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they don't pan out the way I think it is. But that's okay. That's fantasy book. That's wrestling. That's wrestling. So you just go with what you got. You work with what you got. So I said to myself, I'm sitting there, I'm calling the match, and I said to myself, I said, now how much do you want to bet he's going to put on a ref shirt? He's going to sprint down. The referee's going to get wiped out. We have no referee. Now he comes down in the ref shirt, and he's going to count. Now, when he showed the number 2, I had thought he was going to give him the Italian salute. That was my first thought in my head. I had thought that's what he was going to do. He was going to tell him he was number 1. That's what I thought he was going to do. Because Punk, he likes to be extra. And so I thought that's what he was going to do. But when he said it was only 2, now Damian Priest didn't kick out. So therefore, he couldn't make the 3 count because he's not legally the referee. He's not legally the referee because he was not added to the contract. So that's what Triple H was saying in the media scrum. He said that Punk was not legally eligible to be in the match because he's not a referee. Okay, so we got that explanation. When he said the 2 count, and I looked and I said, oh boy, And then Drew pinned him to the corner, and he kicked Drew in the haggis. He kicked Drew in the haggis. The original referee came in the ring and he had a 3 count and a screwment. Yeah, that is exactly what happened. Now we go to Monday night. Monday Night Raw. Oh boy. Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I had thought when he came out and he said, I quit, and everybody jumped on Twitter. Oh, he's going to go to AEW. Oh, he's going to go to TNA. He's not going anywhere.
Oh my God.
It's a storyline, guys.
God, people are so
Relax. Relax. It's a work.
Right.
It's a work. It's a work. You understand what a work is? Do you understand what long-term storytelling booking is, guys? Do you understand what that is? They had to do this because it adds more fuel to the fire of this movement. You understand? So this narrative needs to happen. So this is another page of the days of Drew Lives, as I call it. Yes, it's not the days of our lives. It's the days of Drew's lives. Okay, so he went and played it up to the hill, and he canceled the social media, and he turned in his work cell phone, and everything. So he has to do all of this. He has to do all of this. It's because they want him off of TV for now, and then bring him back at appropriate time to come in and do the chapter number 3, 4, 5, or whatever the chapter is called for, and he will confront Punk on it. So I don't want you guys to sit up here and say, "Oh, he's not going anywhere. He's not going anywhere." Put those thoughts back in the trunk where they belong and close it. He's not going anywhere. He's not doing anything.
He just signed his contract like a month ago.
Right.
I mean,
Right. So he's not going anywhere. I knew it was a work. I knew it was all part of the storyline. I'm not dumb, and I'm not blind, and I'm not deaf. Okay, so I know what it is. Now, if it wasn't a work, yeah, okay, they would have said something, or WWE would have said something. Oh, we released McIntyre because he walked out on his contract due to endeavors and all that. They would have said, but none of that was said. None of that was said on the internet. So none of that was said.
Posted about it. They would have, WWE would have made some kind of statement about it if.
Right, exactly. But that's what I just did. Right.
So.
Right. If this wasn't a work, they would have said, okay, well, he breached the contract, we released him, and we wish him well in the future endeavor. But WWE didn't say that. Mm-hmm. Sean C., how are you tonight? Sean C., the inventor of Roachamania. Yes. Long story, Josh. I'll tell you about that later. Anyway. Anyway.
Hilarious.
Anyway. Despite so according to Wrestle Talk, despite McIntyre being done with a company and a storyline, that hasn't stopped the company from uploading a YouTube vlog. So the WWE uploaded a YouTube vlog on McIntyre's journey to the Clash of the Castle. So they did that and then they added the footage of him being screwed out of the title at the Clash of the Castle. Yeah, they added that to the thing. So, but the article goes on to say it's unclear when McIntyre will be back on WWE TV. However, his sworn rival CM Punk will be on SmackDown this Friday. So I'm going to assume that they're going to pull him off of WWE TV for now to keep selling this, because they have to keep selling it. You have to keep selling it in order for the audience to buy into the storyline. So you have to be invested in it. So I'm gonna say that McIntyre will probably not show up on SmackDown on Friday. It'll just be Punk reacting to what he said on Monday night, and then he'll give us a medical update, and then that will be the end all, the be all. until the right time is done, and then they'll pull the trigger.
Sure.
So, Josh, what do you think about that?
Well, there's a couple of things that I think people need to look at. Was it a great segment on Monday? Absolutely. It was a great shocker. But we also got to remember when Drew McIntyre was over at Clash of the Castle, his wife was also in an emergency surgery.
Right.
Right. So
Right.
obviously he's probably going to want to be with her. She's probably going to need him.
Right.
What better way to write him off TV for a while so he can have time with his wife to help her out with whatever she needs
Right.
and add fuel to the fire, keep the storyline going so that way, you got SummerSlam coming up. You got
Right. Right.
coming up. You've got some
Right. Exactly.
big PLEs coming up. You've got time.
Exactly.
And then on top of that, he also forgot to get rid of his TikTok that still says he's a WWE wrestler. So,
how about that?
So yeah.
yeah,
So how about that? You missed all of them except for that one. Dang.
yeah, he almost sold everything. I went through and looked at all his stuff, and I was like, I follow him on TikTok because I saw the cat dad video he posted on there and started following him afterwards. And I told me and Nick were texting about it, and I was like, nope, his TikTok's still up. He's listed as a WWE wrestler still.
Yep.
We're golden.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So like I said, like Josh said brilliantly, he's not going anywhere. This is all part of the storyline. This is a work, and I want you all to stop pushing the panic button. He's not going anywhere. He's not going anywhere. I already knew what the storyline called for. This is long-term storytelling, and I like the way they're doing this. I love the way they're doing this. Because the fans were always complaining about WWE not doing long-term storytelling. They are starting to do that now. They're starting to wake up and doing that. They're starting to wake up and doing that now. And I like it like this because you don't want to rush the feud. You don't want to rush it because what will happen is if you rush through it and you try to push it through, you can't push it down the fan's throat. You can't do that. That you can't do. That you can't do. And you can't rush it because what will happen is you're going to miss critical elements of the feud. And we need to put it all together. We need to put all the pieces together in order for this feud to work. So what they're doing is absolutely brilliant. I love Triple H the way he's doing this. This is fabulous. This is absolutely fabulous. This will add more fuel to the fire. And I am very curious to see what Punk will say this Friday in Rosemont, Illinois. Very curious. I can't wait for SmackDown. What was that, song? I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I was going to say, I think part of the problem with people wanting, things to be fast-tracked is, we are living in a world where people want that instant gratification. They want what they want, when they want it, how they want it. Like, they want it right now. And, like, to your point, Earl, when you rush through something, you end up making mistakes. You could forget like you said, the wording you could forget critical elements, and it ends up looking sloppy. So
Yes.
I would rather get more bang for my buck, so to speak. Have them take their time, have them build this storyline the correct way with everything, all the elements, and they've been doing a fantastic job. I mean, you got to figure this has been going on since Punk got injured back at the Royal Rumble. Like, they started up right away with Drew saying, I prayed for this, blah, 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 the Monday after the Rumble. When Punk came out with his arm in a sling, like, they started this right away. And they've been doing a great job with building this. They're doing fine. So I don't think they should change anything.
No.
Go the way you're going. Like, take your time. Okay.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Josh. I'm sorry.
Well, I was going to say, if there's one thing we've learned, if you've watched Triple H during his career, if there's anyone that's a king of long-term storytelling, it's Triple H, right?
Yes.
And he knows how to tell a story. I mean, look at Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns. That was a 2-year-long story. And it absolutely catapulted
to the crescendo that it did.
Yeah. And now, I mean, people really should. I would be more surprised if we got a fast storyline or a fast feud that ended quickly now that Triple H is in charge of creative. That's what he specializes in. So, you know, he likes to let things cook, and I love it.
Yeah. Well,
And I'm here for it.
Why it's 6 is everybody was complaining about all of the QR codes, and this is taking too long, and this is ridiculous, and they need to get. I want to see them. I want to see them. I want. Doesn't matter what you want. It's what fits the narrative for certain storylines they have already going on right now, and they fitted in perfectly with what happened with the Alpha Academy on Monday night. Like, so they took their time, built it up, so there was a lot of anticipation from us fans, and the end result we got with when they debuted on Monday, I thought they played it perfectly. So to your point, Josh, I think it was beautiful. I mean, the I want to say cinematography. I know that's like a film word, but it looked perfect. They all acted perfect. So again, I'm glad they took their time to make sure they got all their ducks in a row to make sure it went off without a hitch, and it did. So
and I again, you guys hit the nail on the head when it comes to analytics. This is absolutely why I love wrestling fans like you guys, is because you understand and you interweave what your thinking is and what your thought process is, and you put it all together. You create a great fabric for everyone to lie on and understand. So I like that. And I like that a whole lot. And I respect that as well. So you're welcome. And here's the thing. Like Sarah said, like Josh said, like everyone else has said, you have to build something. You have to have a pyramid. You have to build it up to be a pyramid. So first you have to lay the foundation first.
Yep.
You have to lay the foundation first. That means that you're going to have to do teases. That's part of the pyramid of the storyline. Then you go to the middle of the pyramid, and that is the run in, the little nuance, the little dig, the subtle digs, the history, and everything else. So all of that goes to the middle of the pyramid. Then you go up to the top point, which is the crescendo. And that is when you pull the trigger, and that is when you display the entire package to the audience for them to invest in. So I like the way Triple H's foundation is. He's not putting the point down from the bottom and put the middle in the middle and the point, and we have to figure it. No. Triple H likes to put that cement first on the ground first before you even mention the damn feud. And let me tell you something. This Wyatt 6, I'm going to give you a backstory about this. All of the QR codes and everything that you have seen on television for months, that you've seen on television, was produced out of their new headquarters. And they snuck in the people that were involved in this faction in the new headquarters, and they practice it over and over and over and over again, so that critical details and critical nuances are not missed in the storyline. And I love that. That awesome. makes my heart grow fonder. And
can we just talk about how absolutely creepy Nikki Cross was crawling on the ground?
Oh yes.
My goodness, I'm scared. I'm like, what? Oh my gosh.
I slept with the light on. Anyway,
and I love horror movies. They're my favorite. And she was that mask. Oh my goodness. Round of applause for the person or people that created all of those masks. They did a phenomenal job. Like, they all looked wonderful. Oh my goodness.
I love the way Chad. Go ahead, Josh. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say it was perfect, and it's I feel like the standard now is perfecting your craft there at WWE, and having them do it over and over and over and over and over again. Gordon Ramsay get to be Gordon Ramsay by just off his second meal. You know what I mean?
Right.
He had to perfect. He had to have those, get those gourmet meals down to a science, and now he can play fish blindfolded.
Right.
And that's what we're getting now with WWE and with Triple H and with everybody. They just want perfection, and the crowds are loving it. So.
Yeah, and it shows in the productivity. It shows careness in the way you delicately did the storyline, and I like it like that because, like Sarah said, you don't want to rush something and then it looks unproductive. It looks sloppy. It looked like something you just put together at the last minute, and you just threw gum on the wall and you just made it stick, and whatever it is, just display it on the stage and throw it out. Tony Khan. Anyway, anyway, but let's get back to the Clash of the.
I mean,
anyway, let's go back to the Clash of the Castle. Okay.
Sorry, I brought that Fight 6 thing up, and I was just trying to make a. I was just trying to
No. That's fine. That's fine, Sarah. That's fine. I love this conversation, and I love it. I now that we explained everything to you all, I hope you all now understand. And now the class is still in session, and we're going to teach you a lot of things here tonight. If you didn't know, if you didn't know already. Anywho. So let's talk about the Intercontinental title. Chad Gable took on Sami Zayn. Another long-term storytelling. Josh, what did you make of the match itself?
I think it was a good match. It was a solid match. I love that they continued with Otis in that match. And, I was kind of hoping that things would come to a head right there at Clash at the Castle, but not quite, but enough to really get it going for Monday Night Raw. I think it was, I will say it was kind of predictable. I think we all kind of knew that something was going to happen with Maxine and with, Otis, and, there was going to be some sort of crucial interference that happened or didn't happen. I did think, going into it, Sammy was probably going to pull it out because I think long title runs is the kind of the name of the game now versus, winning it on a Monday and then losing it 2 weeks later. Not really the vibe I'm getting with this new WWE product. So, but overall, solid match. I think it was a good setup for Monday Night Raw. What happened with, Otis and the Alpha Academy on Monday. So, yeah, but overall, great match.
All right. Okay, so Sarah, what did you think?
I thought it was a really good match. Like Josh, I was hoping we would get Otis snapping. I've said it for weeks. I'm like, I can't wait for Otis to snap and just lose his mind because Chad Gable's an abusive jerk, and I can't wait to see it. Like, I just want Otis to squish him like a bug. But I'm looking back on it, considering what we got on Monday. I'm glad it didn't happen at Clash. I think that was absolutely the right decision to have it happen the way it happened. And it played perfectly into the ending of Raw. But I thought Sammy did an excellent job. He always does an excellent job. Chad Gable is one of the best technical wrestlers. He reminds me so much of Kurt Angle in his look and his mannerisms. Like, he reminds me so much of Kurt Angle, and I loved Kurt Angle when I was younger. I thought he was super funny, but he could also go out there and kick some butt. So, they both did excellent. I figured Otis was what I thought was going to happen was that Chad was going to do something to Maxine to get Otis to snap on Sammy, like do something to Maxine, blame it on Sammy, and Otis would snap on Sammy, and that's how Chad would win. But again, I'm glad that it worked out the way that it did. So, but I thought it was great.
Yeah, I thought it was great. The match was great. The match was fun. I can't wait for Otis to snap on that fool. I cannot wait. That old fish-eyed fool. I can't wait till he snap on that fool.
He kind of already did. I mean, and when he lost it a little bit on Raw, I mean, the way he shoved Chad Gable with such force, and Gable just flew back. Oh my gosh. I was like, here we go. I'm like, he's gonna do the caterpillar on him and squish him. I was waiting. I was so
you know, another thing too is I had thought that he was gonna squash him like Nia Jax does. You know, when he should drag him in the corner and then squash. Yeah, do a Nia Jax. Yeah, do a Nia Jax on him. That's what I said. Squash that Napoleon complex fool.
But I mean, again,
anyway, it played out well.
Yeah, I think it was really great the way they did.
It was wonderful.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I do kind of like the way they did Otis on Monday. Well, I wanted him to smash Gable really on Saturday and on Monday. But I love the fact that they were like, nope, he's going to shove him. He's going to let him know that he's the boss now. And then instead of smashing Gable and stooping down to his level, he got the rest of Alpha Academy out of there. He turned the other cheek. He was the bigger man. And I think that this builds Otis's character even more, you know.
Right.
And he cares for his friends. And I would have loved to see him caterpillar and smash Gable, but I think this was the right way to go with him. So
yeah, I'm going to tell you something. And let me tell you something. You know, when they had the Wyatt Six, when going back to Wyatt Six for a second, when they had the Wyatt Six debut on Monday Night Raw, and they had the production cameras go in the backstage, and you saw Gable laying on the floor, it looked like somebody shot him upside the head. Like somebody took a sawed-off shotgun and like boom, you know, and he looked like that's what it looked like to me. It looked like it was a crime scene, and I was like, damn. I was like, what was? I mean, it was the way they did it, the way they had the production people laid out unconscious and the smoke. They did that brilliantly. That was absolutely done really. They took that gorilla position and they destroyed it, destroyed the people that were sitting behind the table. I thought that was absolutely fabulous. I don't know who produced that, but boy, they need to get their flowers because that was absolutely brilliant. The smoke, the whole 9 yards, the whole thing, it was great. It was just absolutely flawless. I had no issues with what they did behind the scenes, none whatsoever.
I noticed too, as they were panning the camera, like as the camera was backing up and you had Uncle Howdy walking towards the camera.
Yeah.
I watched it back, obviously, because, you know, the videos on social media and YouTube and all of that.
Yeah.
And as the camera is moving back and Uncle Howdy's walking forward, the camera, you can see how it has the television screen up on the wall. And the Wyatt Six logo was already up on that TV screen. I thought that was a great touch. I thought that was great. And, you know, of course, the TV screen is all cattywampus, lopsided. But, yeah, it was just these little things they did. Just kind of when you put it all together, it works. It makes it 10 times better.
And it goes back to what I said earlier. You don't want to rush anything because then if it, you know, those critical details, this is a very important feud for Triple H and the WWE because They are honoring Bray Wyatt's legacy, and you don't want something to honor him be looking like an afterthought. And that is something you don't want to do because his family is watching, and everybody who supported Bray is watching, and they want this to go as well as it should be and as well produced as it should be. And I think Triple H understood that, and he understood the narrative, and that's why he pulled it back some, and he pulled the trigger, and he worked it, he tweaked it, he asked them about it, he looked at the whole thing on camera, on paper, made sure it looks good. So hats off to all that was involved in this production because they did a phenomenal job. It's an A across the board for me. I had no issues with what they produced. Absolutely not.
You know
Um,
what? A question I have though is why I'm just curious as to their what their reasoning is for targeting Chad Gable first. That's one of the questions that I have. Probably the main question I have is what is motivating them to target Chad first, and then what are they hoping to get out of doing this to him?
right. Well, here's the thing. You ever heard of the saying "wrong place, wrong time"?
Yeah.
I believe that's what happened to Mr. Gable. He probably was trying to stick his nose in the business, and he got what he deserved. It couldn't have happened to a better bully. But anyway, I digress.
That is
Uh,
so
any-
true. That is so
yeah,
true. I saw a video too where it did just really quick. It did like a still frame of when Chad Gable was confronting Otis and them in the locker room after the match, after they were out in the ring, and in the little cubby above Chad Gable's, like I guess where he had his stuff hanging, there was a shoe and there was a little white bunny rabbit inside of the shoe.
yes,
That I'm like,
You marked.
yes,
I didn't see that
yes,
at all. I watched it
yes.
like, oh yeah, you pausing and playing and pausing and playing to try to look and see if you could see anything, but they put, just like I said, it's those little nuances, those little details, little Easter eggs, man. So it was wonderful. The way they executed it, the whole thing is just wonderful.
Well,
And
and I
another,
think oh,
go ahead, Josh. Go ahead, Josh.
I think too, this is such an important group, and you're trying to honor Bray Wyatt, and you want them to go over so well with the fans, as if I don't think there was any way they wouldn't. So, what's the best way to bring them some love and have them go over with the fans? Take out the biggest bully in the locker room, the one that's generating
Very
the most heat.
true.
Take out Chad Gable.
Yes.
Everyone wants him taken out. We didn't get it with Otis, so everyone's still in suspense. Boom. The White Six come in. They take him out. Even more love for them.
Yep. And they're all
Awesome.
about injustice, and they're all about injustice and righting the wrongs. And I love it. I'm
Fantastic. I
here
think that's a
for
great way to look at it.
yeah. So
Beautiful
let's
love
talk
letter
about
to Bray Wyatt.
let's just talk about this next match. This was a triple threat match for the women's tag team championship. It was Elba Fire and Ella Dawn, and of course Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark taking on the champions. Oh, what was it?
This is Grandizer 12. He says
Grand Dizzard.
He says Yo, Sarah, Josh, and the man of 100 voices, Earl E. Cole. Hope you all are having a
Thank
great
you.
day. That was so nice.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Grand Dizzard. Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate it. So yeah, so this triple threat match was for the women's title. I'm gonna go to Josh first. Josh, what did you make of the match first? What did you think of it?
I think it was a good match. There was definitely some not so great spots in that match. I think there was definitely some issues with the ropes, but some good recovery overall in the match. And I was a little surprised that they gave it to the team of, Alba Fire's team and, with Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair.
Right.
At the same time, I didn't know how long Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair are going to stay a tag team because they're both great singles competitors.
Right.
In the world of Triple H, I just talked earlier about long title reigns, but this really isn't a team that I would want to see go for 6 months to a year as tag team champions, because they can be good, really great singles competitors. Bianca's already proven it. Jade Cargill has everything you need to do that. So, it was a great run for Bianca and Jade. I think it was a good spot to go ahead and change the title over. We've got a young tag team that's got the titles down. Give them a run, give them a push, and let's. I want to see Jade and Bianca back in some singles competition.
Yes. Yeah, I'm going to agree with that. I'm going to agree with that assessment. Sarah, what did you make of the match itself?
Well, to Josh's point, there definitely were some slip-ups in the match. I thought it was good. It was a little bit chaotic, though, again, and this is just, I guess, generally how I feel about multi-person matches, is the ref really needs to be on their toes. They need to be on their A game, because you've got to keep track of who's doing what, where they are in the ring. Are they in the ring? Are they outside the ring? Are they trying to put someone through a table? Like, you've got to keep
Aubrey
track.
Edwards.
Yeah. Aubrey Edwards, that is blind half the time. Sorry, I can't stand her. She's the worst ref ever. But I thought that the ref did a good job of keeping track of everybody, keeping things, organized, and who's doing what where. Of course, there were some, like I said, like you said, Josh, there were some slip-ups. I was not expecting a title change. I thought the title change would happen at SummerSlam. I mean, and I'm perfectly fine with it. I just didn't think it was going to happen this soon. But I'm very surprised by who he put the belts on, considering they haven't, Alba Fire and Isla Dawn really haven't had any matches. They haven't had very many matches since they came up to the main roster. And I'm like, you're really going to put the tag belts on people that have barely wrestled in the last, 5 months? So I was surprised by who he chose. And I did not like the fact that Shayna Baszler once again ate the pin. That really makes me mad, because she continues to always be the one that is eating the pin or getting knocked out or what have you. And I think she deserves better. That's just my personal opinion. If people feel differently, I get it. So I thought Zoe Stark should have eaten the pin. She should have taken the pin, not Shayna Baszler. But I thought the match was okay for what it was. This was the match I was looking forward to the least, just because I really don't care. I really did not care. So I'm just being honest. That's just how I felt about it. So.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you guys' assessment. The match was okay for what it was. Would I want to see it again? No. Was it a classic? No. Was it stellar? No. None of those things. So I'm going to agree that the match was a little clunky. But I was shocked that Alba Fire and Isla Dawn won the match. I was expecting a retainment, but that's not what we got. And the match, they won, and they won in their home country. And hats off to Triple H. He wanted to pull that trigger, because we all knew McIntyre was not going to win the main event. We all knew that, and And the next match we're going to talk about, we all knew that that was not going to happen. Bayley defended her title against the again. She was attacked by her. So let me ask Josh something. Josh, what did you make of the Bayley title match?
I kind of knew Bayley was gonna make it out of there somehow. There was gonna be a little bit of comedy with Chelsea Green on the sidelines. You know, I love the efforts of Chelsea Stereo coming out and trying to distract again. But overall, I like Piper. I like Piper Niven. I think she's a great wrestler. I hope they continue to give her a push because she can be great. Ready for her to get away from Chelsea Green and Chelsea Stereo. Okay, let's get them separated. I think Piper Niven has what it takes to do well in singles. But I expected Bayley to win. She ended up winning, and it was a solid match. Piper, I think, pushed her to her limits pretty well. So,
yeah, I'm gonna agree with the assessment because the thing was is the Piper Niven she gave her a hell of a ride on the match. She gave it her money's worth. But in the end, it was Bayley overcame, and she overcame, and she retained, and right that she should because she just won the. She just she got the title at WrestleMania. Why take her to? Why strip her of it right now? Let her have that good title run, in my opinion. Sarah, what did you think of the match?
I thought the match was good. And I get it, people, I kept reading / hearing people say, oh, there's no story behind this, blah, blah, blah. Well, they kind of explained it. There was a little story that, they made a story where Piper Niven was attacking Bayley, on SmackDown, and that's how she got this match. While it wasn't a very good story, I'm glad they did it this way, though, as it was a way for Triple H to get Piper on the card so she could actually wrestle in front of her, friends and family members in Scotland. So definitely respect that for sure. How they got all of, the people from Scotland that, on the card the way they did. So I think I definitely think that was great. I think that I totally agree with you, Josh. I think Piper does need to get away from Chelsea Green because she's not there, she's not taken seriously because she's with, I think, Chelsea Green.
Right.
And I can't remember if it was Nick or maybe it was Mac, the Giants fan. I can't remember if it was Mac or Nick that said that Piper, she's held world titles back home in Scotland and in the UK. So if she's capable of that, why is she not capable of holding a title here in the United, with WWE in the US? But I think first things first is, you need to get her out of this comedy act with Chelsea Green. And I thought it was just
Chelsea Green.
Oh my God. She's ridiculous and obnoxious. Like, I say she's the Karenist Karen. Like, she's the perfect Karen. She plays the part very well. But I thought the whole thing with her coming down in the luchador mask was just really dumb. Like, really, you're still wearing the same outfit, girlfriend. Like, you might want to change your clothes. Come on now. So yeah, but they weren't going to take that title off of Bayley. Definitely not to Piper Niven. Piper was not going to take that title. Like, the question I always ask myself, and Earl knows this, is what have you done to earn this title? And I do not feel that Piper Niven has done enough to earn the women's, to earn the women's title. She hasn't.
I'm gonna just say this as a side note. When she was in the match on Friday Night SmackDown, Chelsea Green, I'm talking about. She took, I believe she took on Bianca Belair. I was doing the show with Denise, and I said to Denise, I said, "Oh, look at this. Look at this. Chelsea B is getting the Karen beat out of her." And Denise loved it. Denise loved it. Denise Denise loved it. It did it to Jazz. But you know something? She was ridiculous coming down with that luchador mask after she was tossed out in the match. That was a little ridiculous. We all knew who it was. We all knew who it was. It wasn't. You couldn't fake that.
Right.
She was trying to help Piper Niven get the title, but it didn't work. None of the trickery worked. So once we go through and I just want to just tell our audience, once we go through the card, I'm gonna rewind it, dial it back, and we're gonna do the entertainment level. I'm gonna go through the card, and then we're gonna go through the entertainment level. Josh, what the entertainment level is? And hi, Nick, how are you? Hi, Nick, how are you tonight? I'll see you tomorrow night for SmackDown.
Nah.
Nana. Anyway, we're gonna do that. So, Josh, what happens is here at the Wrestling Experience is that we have an entertainment level, and I'll ask you on a scale of 1 to 10 what you thought of the entertainment level was. Nick, again, thank you so much for your comments in the chat.
Chelsea Mysterio is his new favorite wrestler.
Oh no, Chelsea Mysterio.
Oh, Nick.
And she's gonna do a sloppy 619. Anyway, so let's just talk about this next one. And this is the final match of the evening. Well, it opened the show actually. It was the I Quit match. It was Cody Rhodes taking on Mr. AJ Styles. Josh, what did you think of the I Quit match?
Well, that was an interesting one. I'll tell you that for sure. It was great from the start, and then it kind of towards the end. I wasn't super happy with the ending, with how Cody got AJ to quit. But I was thinking about it. AJ has never lost an I Quit match, and they've stressed the unbreakable spirit of Cody Rhodes, never quitting. And so when you think about these two, AJ never quitting, unbreakable spirit, Cody Rhodes, there's got to be some sort of intricate or unusual way to get one of them to quit. And I think this is really about the only way that you can get one of them to quit is handcuff them and put them somewhere where they're just going to, if they don't quit, they're just going to get beat and to a bloody pulp. That's really about the only way you can get either one of these two to quit.
Right.
I would have liked to see AJ get hit a couple of times before, quitting, or at least like running from one turnbuckle to the other turnbuckle to try and avoid Cody and figure something out. Versus just an immediate, I quit.
Right.
But throughout the match, I think it was pretty solid. A little upset there weren't any thumbtacks in that bag. As soon as he grabbed that, I immediately went to my childhood growing up with Mick Foley and the thumbtacks coming out of that bag.
Yeah.
And just handcuffs.
Yeah.
But great way to start off the PLE for sure.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with your assessment. I liked it. Yeah, I thought that was thumbtacks in that black bag. But then when he took out the handcuffs, I was like, womp, womp, womp. I was like, dang it. I thought it was going to be another Olive Garden special, The Fork. But anyway, that's interesting story.
That's more John Moxley style.
Well, I mean, I would have put it past Cody Rhodes if he did it. Anyway, so what did you think of the I Quit match?
I thought it was a really great way, like Josh said. I thought it was a really was surprised they started the show off with it. But I thought it was great because they're both very strong, very good wrestlers. So I'm glad they started the show off with, I said, with the oomph. They started it off with a shot of adrenaline. I was very surprised. It seemed Cody didn't get a ton of offense in. AJ really was dominating probably 2/3 of that match. So that's what made me, I was very surprised that AJ said I quit as quickly as he did. I thought,
Right.
Josh's point, I thought Cody would have started beating the heck out of him to get him to say, that he would have to do that before AJ would say I quit. So I felt like it was a little too quick for me. I love Cody's mom's involvement in it. I think she is just the cutest lady ever. So to see this little lady just smacking AJ across the face and cussing at him, I got a kick out of it because I just think she's this adorable lady and she's like cussing and stuff. It just cracked me up.
Right.
So it was nice that, that she was there to support Cody. I also was surprised because that Anderson and Gallows were there because they were on SmackDown on Friday. I thought for sure that they were going to come down and do some run interference for AJ
Right.
in some way, shape, or form. So I was very surprised that we didn't see that. But yeah, I mean, I thought it was a good starting off point for the PLE. So yeah, I mean, I enjoyed the match. I thought they both did a great job.
Well,
Yeah, I go ahead, Josh. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And I think you bring up a good point. AJ got cuffed to the ropes, and it just all of a sudden was over, right? But you can bring his minions, come out, they get the key, they can unhandcuff him.
Right.
I mean, it is an I quit match. There's no disqualifications. You only win by saying I quit. So why aren't they out there helping to continue this match or keep AJ from saying I quit? I mean, they could have done something.
Right.
So,
well, I'm not sure what the thought process was, but
it's Ram. It's our friend Ram.
Hi, Ram from Australia. How are you? Thank you so much. And so I thought that I think the match was fine. Like I said, I was disappointed with the black bag. I thought I was going to get either a dinner. I thought I was going to get a dinner fork, some Legos, some thumbtacks.
It wasn't thumbtacks. I said, thumbtacks. And Earl is always about 10 seconds ahead of me. And he's like, but we have handcuffs. I was so disappointed. I was really looking forward to somebody being turned into a human pincushion.
Or he was going to challenge Inna Moxley and do the fork. But anyway.
Right.
Anyway, the match was fine. The match was okay for what it was. Great chemistry, great nuance of the match. Everybody played their part well in the match. So I had no issues with it. All right, so that was Clash of the Castle. Now we're gonna rewind the matches and we're gonna go through it and we're gonna give you our entertainment level. So I'm gonna go to Josh first. Josh, on a scale of 1 to 10, what do you give the main event of the Clash of the Castle?
I'm giving it a 10. I was so entertained. The match was great. And then one thing I forgot to mention, we were talking about giving flowers earlier. Let's give some kudos and some flowers to these cameramen, right? Because just video work, camera work, and the way they got Drew McIntyre's face, but we couldn't see exactly who the ref is, even if we may have had an idea who it was. Oh my gosh, that face on Drew McIntyre was just, it told an entire story.
Eat your heart out, Kevin Dunn. Anyway.
Right. It was cinema. It was played up to perfection. The match up until that point was great on both sides. 10 out of 10. I was sold on it from start to finish.
It was absolutely great. I agree with you, Josh. Sarah, what number do you give this match?
Oh, a 10, hands down. Like, it was, like I said, this was the match I was looking forward to the most. And just the way Punk came down and, interfered and screwed Drew out of the title, I thought it was just wonderful. So definitely a 10.
Yep, I'm going to be on the same wavelength and give this match a 10 across the board. This is 10 across the board from all of us. And yes, that match was scrumdiddlyocious. It was delicious. It was great. it was the bomb diggity. It was great. It was fantastic. It was fantastic. It was great. I loved it. Every nuance, I souped it up. Every bit of the screw. Even when he kicked him in the haggis, I knew that was going to happen. I knew that was going to happen. It was an exclamation point. Yep, he popped right out of the bowl of haggis and screwed Drew. Yep.
I thought that was hilarious the way he said that. Oh my God, it was so funny.
It was true. It was true. Yeah. The Intercontinental title match, Josh. On a scale of 1 to 10, what do you give it?
I'll probably give it a 7. I was entertained.
Okay.
I was, not a 10 because I didn't see Otis take down Chad Gable like I wanted to, but ultimately they fixed that later on. But overall, solid match. 7. I was entertained. I was ready to see it. So
I agree. Sarah, what do you think?
I give it an 8. I would have, like Josh, I would have given it a 10 had Otis just walloped Chad Gable right there to help Sammy retain. But I think it's important that, and I just thought of this, I think it's important that didn't happen because you can't, nobody can go back and say, oh, the only reason why Sammy won against Chad Gable was because Otis took out Chad or Otis hit Chad or gave him a clothesline or whatever. So it gives more credibility to Sammy and his title reign, I think. But yeah, I'd give it an 8. I mean, it wasn't absolutely amazing. It wasn't absolutely terrible, but I thought it was an entertaining match for sure.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna give this match a 7. I'm gonna give it a 7. And I would have loved a Nia Jax performance from Otis. And he would have squashed Gable in the match. That's what I would have thought. Just drag him in the corner and squash him. But we didn't get it. I thought about it in my head, but we didn't get it. Yeah, so that was it. All right. The Triple Threat Women's Tag Team title match, Josh, what number do you give that?
We'll give that one. I'm gonna go with a 5. It was, like we said earlier, it was clunky. It was chaotic. That's when we first learned that there was something wrong with the ropes. They weren't the greatest. Some botches. So probably a 5. And I feel like that may be a point gracious on that one. So it was a match. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, exactly. Sarah, what do you think?
I'm right there. I give it a 5. Like I said, it wasn't amazing. It wasn't terrible, awful, but I think if they would have corrected the ropes, and it's funny because I've seen videos where the ref in Cody and AJ's match told AJ about the ropes, and AJ went up and tested them. if you knew the ropes were messed up in that match, why wouldn't you go out there and have somebody fix them then and adjust them?
Right.
Okay. The thing is that you normally the WWE has extra ropes that are located underneath the ring, as for production to do if they have a spot where where the ring is supposed to be destroyed, and they did it. Unfortunately, those ropes could not make it through customs, so they had to leave it where it is. So what they had to do is use what they had to use, and that was it.
Okay.
So that was the only reason. That was the only reason. Yeah, it couldn't pass through customs. So,
I wonder why. I
um,
mean, they're ring ropes for crying out loud.
I
I mean,
mean, everyone's got rules. They got regulations and what you can bring in and what you can, and
yeah,
so. You don't want to go back and forth and then all of a sudden they say, okay, none of your equipment can come in here. So,
yeah, that's a very good point. You don't want
yeah, yeah, you
shake
don't
it
want to
up.
ruffle the feathers. Yeah, you don't want to ruffle the feathers. So if you
Yeah,
can't make it, it can't make it. Put it back in the truck and we'll deal with it later.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, so so we did the Intercontinental, we did the Triple Threat. Um, we did the main event. All right, so now we're gonna go up until the I Quit match. Josh, what number do you give that?
I think I'd probably put that. I would, even with the ending, I'd still probably put it an 8 because it was entertaining. Not a 9 or a 10 because we didn't get tax. No one interfered, and the I Quit was very unexpected. And before you knew it, the match was over. But still entertaining nonetheless, all throughout. I mean, you've got AJ and Cody Rhodes, two of the best to ever do it and currently do it. So, of course, it's going to be entertaining, right?
Right, exactly. Oh, and by the way, before I go to Sarah, I totally forgot to give you my number for the Triple Threat women's match. I'm going to give it a 3.2. The match gets a 3.2. It was because of the clunkiness in the middle of the match. It wasn't good. I could have bumped it up a little bit, but unfortunately, I had to give it a 3.2. And that's the best I can do for you at this point. So don't come back at me on Twitter and say, "Oh, why would you do that? Why would you do that to these ladies?" And I'm like, look back on the match and understand where their entertainment level is. And then leave it alone at that, okay? If you miss a day, you miss a lot. You're the wrestling experience. Um, Sarah, I'm going to go to you. What did you the match that we just referred to? What number do you give it?
You're talking the AJ and Cody match, right?
Yes, exactly.
I'd probably give it. I'd give it an 8 because it was entertaining. Just the ending, how quickly AJ said "I quit." I probably would have given it a higher score had he, taken his time to say "I quit."
Yeah. I'm gonna agree with the number, and I'm gonna agree with Josh's number, and I'm gonna agree with everyone except yeah. The match gets an 8 for me. It was fine for what it was. Um, yeah, he quit very quickly, and quickly he did. All right, so let's talk about Bailey for a second. Josh, what number do you give the Bailey match? Mhm.
Bailey, on the actual entertainment of the match, I'll probably give it a 7. Maybe a 7.5 if you add in the comic gesture of the court gesture, I guess we could say, of Chelsea Mysterio and Chelsea Green there.
Chelsea Green.
That added a little bit of comedy to it, and I always like a good joke, which you can expect with Chelsea Green out there. But overall, as far as the match, Bailey versus Piper Niven, it was great. Both of them gave each other a run for their money, and solid victory from Bailey. So probably
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 7 too. I'm not gonna go any higher than that. That's fine. That's fine for what it was. Chelsea Green. So annoying. She pulled
Yes,
my
she is.
pigtails. She pulled my pigtails. Chelsea Green. Anyway, um, so what number do you give this match?
I would give it a 7 as well. Like you always say, Earl, it was fine for what it was, but would I want to see this match again? Not
No.
particularly. I really could care less. So now we're gonna end up getting, I just hope they start to build up the match at, I almost said WrestleMania, the match at SummerSlam that Bayley's gonna have with Nia Jax. I hope they start building that up. They've got plenty of time to start working on that, so we get
Right.
again a better like long-term story with this. So
Right. Yeah, I'm going to agree with everyone, and I'm going to give the same number as you all did. And yeah, like I said, will I want to see this? No, that's fine. That's fine for what it was. It's fine. All right. I'm going to give you an update on the McMahon scandal.
oh boy.
Now, if you all know, I on the wrestling experience for over a month now, I have been giving you little stories about Mr. McMahon and what is going on with his case and his trial. And I read the text messages and all this and stuff, and you all have raked me over the coals with it, and goes on back and forth. This is a bombshell. And like Nancy Grace always says on her show, bombshell tonight. All right. This is coming from the PWP Nation. Okay. There is a gentleman named Chanel Sonnen. Now, I don't know if I pronounced the name right, but okay. He claims that Mr. McMahon, listen to me carefully. He claims that Mr. McMahon not only blackmailed women, but he also blackmailed men. And why did he blackmail men? Because he slept with men.
Oh wow.
And he says that he held their careers over their heads over the period of years.
Oh, good grief.
So,
I'm not surprised.
ooh, good night. I don't know what to say about this. This adds another layer to the unbelievable cake of Mr. McMahon. Josh, what did you make of that?
At this point with Vince, I'm not surprised. I mean, this was literally the all-powerful man in the wrestling industry for how many decades?
Yep.
Especially once he bought WCW. And there's one thing I've learned in life: power corrupts, money can corrupt. And that man did not, I'm going to be honest, I don't think he didn't have a good soul to begin with. And then you add power and money and the ability to do pretty much anything he wants. We already knew he was never faithful to his wife back in the 90s. I mean, at this point, nothing surprises me with Vince McMahon, and I'm glad he's away from the company and away from the industry, but I hope he gets what he deserves.
Yeah.
That's just
Wow.
crazy.
Oh my God. I don't know what to say. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. If there is somebody that still works for the WWE that is associated with Mr. McMahon, and they knew about all of this, and they were complicit in it, and they knew about this, the person should be terminated immediately.
Oh yeah.
Because you can't have somebody that's attached to this monster still working in the company. Even Triple H won't even address this. He won't address it. He won't address it. And on WWE, they're not allowed to talk about Mr. McMahon anymore. They're not allowed. Broadcasters, people behind the scenes, nobody's allowed to talk about him anymore behind the scenes. Nope.
Good.
I'm just wow. First he's getting indicted by the DOJ. Then he had this problem with Ashley Lazaro that forced her to commit suicide. Now this. Then there's Lesnar. Don't forget, Lesnar is still. We still haven't known if Lesnar was still involved in this. However, they're trying. They want to bring him back in the fold. I don't think that's a good idea.
No.
Well, now
That's
that
not a good idea.
Now that you brought this up, part of me wonders, okay, well, was Vince McMahon blackmailing Brock Lesnar, and that's how Brock Lesnar was involved? He was forced to be involved. Do you know what I mean? That's the first thought that popped into my head is, what if he was blackmailing Brock Lesnar? I mean, this happened apparently earlier in his career with WWE. It's a very real possibility.
Yeah.
Sarah, that's a great point. Sarah, what do you think about this?
That's why I said when you first finished saying the statement, I was like, why am I not surprised? You can only go. I thought this was low, and it just seems to be getting worse. And I totally 100% agree with you, Earl. If there is anybody that's still there that knew about what was going on or participated in some kind of way or helped cover it up, I absolutely think they should be removed from the company, and they should also be brought up on charges for sure. And I'm really glad that they don't allow anybody to talk about Vince McMahon, because imagine if there are people that still are there that were treated perhaps not as severe, but were treated in some sort of way by him, and constantly having to hear people talk about him and mention his name. Like that would make me feel terrible. I wouldn't want somebody to keep talking about the person that did something awful to me or abused me. So I think it was the right decision to just kind of remove him from everything, as they should. I mean, and Vince McMahon thought that by knowing the person with the investment company, the company that bought WWE,
Right.
TKO, Vince McMahon thought that he was going to be able to stay there, and nothing would happen, and he'd be able to kind of continue to fly under the radar. And I'm really glad that TKO and WWE and everybody did something about it, and they took this stuff seriously. And I think they're handling it the correct way. It doesn't really bother me that Triple H won't talk about it, because I'm sure he's been advised by his attorney and WWE attorneys that he shouldn't talk about it. So that part doesn't really bother me at all. If he's not going to talk about it, then that's fine. We can pretty much find out whatever we want to find out about it by, reading it on the internet or looking up information. We don't really need to wait around for Triple H to make a statement about it. But yeah, it's just crazy. It's just crazy. So then that begs the question: are there going to be more charges brought up against him?
You know what? I don't know. I'm not sure. But what I do know, and what I know now, is that this is just getting out of control. This is just getting worse and worse and worse. And every time you dig up something or you read something,
Yeah.
it's just mind boggling, and it's just mind numbing. This guy did some gross things to
Oh yeah.
women. Gross, gross. He used to have Janelle Grant says that he used to have the bikini parties in his backyard.
What?
Yes, bikini parties. Scantily clad women in his backyard.
Yet he's married.
Ah, wow.
Well, I mean, if you look at what he's done on TV back in the '90s, we had
Oh
the
my
divas, we had the bra and panty matches, we
my
had
Right.
goodness,
bra and
right?
Yeah.
panties, mud wrestling. You
Oh, I
know,
Yeah.
forgot
I
about
mean,
those mud wrestling matches.
right. And then if a
Ridiculous.
diva was on the cover of Playboy, they had a whole
Yeah.
segment dedicated to her front cover.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean,
very true.
if this
And
is
then he
what the
had
man
Trish.
does on
And then
TV,
yeah. Then he had Trish Stratus bark like a dog.
yeah.
Oh, I know that. Mm, nope, sorry.
hmm
How
If
would
I were
you like to be?
asked to do that, that would be my cue. Okay, it's time for me to start looking for a new job.
Yep. And we
No,
want you on all fours and bark like a dog.
it's
How does
demoralizing. Like,
yeah, that's degrading. That's degrading. That's
it's
disgusting.
crazy.
Oh my gosh.
That's,
Ay,
that's a
ay,
good.
ay.
That's a good point, though, Josh. But then, then that makes me wonder. Okay, well, why hasn't Linda McMahon divorced him if this is the way he acts and the cheating and that kind of thing? Then why stay with married to somebody like that?
Like the song says, stand by your man.
That's wild. I'd be like, I'd piece right out of that marriage.
That's right.
Deuces,
That's right.
deuces, I'm
That's right.
out.
Yep.
No,
No, you're not putting up with that. No,
no.
no,
Nobody should. Nobody should.
no,
Come on.
Not
no,
at all. I
no.
mean,
And it's done in front of you too. It's not like it's done behind your back. It's done in front of you. Mm-mm.
I mean, how does
Um,
that make, Shane and Stephanie feel having to see this, and see their dad act this way and um do all those things that he did back, on WWE shows like back in the day. Like it would be embarrassing. Like I would be mortified to have my father act that way. Mortified. It would be so embarrassing. And it's like, why wouldn't you think about how your actions would affect your wife or your children or even your grandchildren? I don't understand. I don't understand. How you could not think about that?
I don't know. I don't
It's
well,
know.
just crazy.
I think the thing to remember about Vince McMahon is this man, does he have a family? Yes. Is he a family man? No, absolutely not. This man
And
had
does he have morals? No.
right.
I
This man had a
suppose.
whole
Yeah, that's a good
segment
point.
about being the better billionaire over Donald Trump, right? So
Oh,
what
I
does that tell
forgot
you?
about that. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
So what does
I
that tell you?
forgot about that.
He's about money, controlling the wrestling industry, and he's
Power.
about degrading everybody. As long as it brought in entertainment, as long as it brought in ratings, and as long as it
That's
brought in
just
money,
wild.
this man is completely corrupted by money. And honestly, as far as Linda McMahon goes, I wouldn't divorce him right now. The man's probably going to go to prison. He's being investigated by the federal government, right?
Mhm.
And I spent 8 years in the Marine Corps working for the government. If they're going to get you,
Wow.
if they want to get you, they're going to get you.
Oh
Yep.
You
yeah.
know, at some point when he goes to prison, everything's going to be hers.
I
Yep.
suppose. Yeah, when you think
I
about
mean,
it, like I didn't
honestly,
think about it like that.
at this point, if she divorced him, she'd only be, screwing herself. But this is a man with no morals. He's not a family man, and he's all
Nope.
about the Benjamins, they'll say. He's all
Yep.
about the money. So,
Golly. So then
And even
I have to wonder though, because you brought it to my attention, Earl, because I'm not big on like social media and like following that and that kind of stuff.
right.
But you brought it up a little while back that the government, the Department of Justice asked Janelle Grant to kind of put her stuff on hold because they were going after him. So if it is proven, and this person that said this, retains an attorney, and it's like, oh yeah, there's definitely evidence here that this did happen. Do you think the Department of Justice would also ask that person to put their stuff on hold?
No. I think what the Department of Justice is doing right now is that they're building a case against him, and what they're doing is they want everyone who was demoralized by him to come forward and to give their piece and say what they need to say so that they can record it, and then they can put together a dossier file. And when they put that dossier file together, then they will go forward and they will go to a judge, and then they will say, well, we have this, and this is why we're going to prosecute him, and this is why we're going to have him indicted because of this, because the list of accusations is enormous. It is long as Long Island. It is enormous. And don't forget, I said this to you, Sarah, in a couple of wrestling experiences ago. There is a law firm in Chicago. There are 3 lawyers that are in Chicago, and they are also getting involved in this McMahon scandal because they will have a website for any victim that was done by Vince McMahon to go to their website and to upload their evidence. So now they're going to join the DOJ, and they're going to come together, and I have a feeling they're going to fly into New York, into Washington, and they're going to team up with them to take him down.
Okay,
And that's exactly.
So the law firm in Chicago, because like I said, this is just I get all mixed up with it. So the law firm in Chicago, they are helping the Department of Justice in New York build this criminal case against him, which is separate from the Janelle Grant stuff.
Right, and the Janelle Grant stuff, the Janelle Grant stuff will be added to this indictment. It will all be added. It will all be added, including Ashley Rozzaro's treatment. That will also be added.
Good.
That will also be added. So all of that will be put in this huge indictment dossier against Mr. McMahon. And like Josh says, like Josh brilliantly said, once the government wants you, they will get you. They will get you, and they will turn no stone unturned until you get punished and the investigation is concluded.
Well, I mean, my goodness, I remember when you first brought this up, like months ago when the story first came out, they have text messages from him, like actual written proof of stuff that happened. Like, there's no denying it. There's no getting out of it. It's just a matter of how bad is it, and I have a feeling now with this coming out, I have a feeling we're going to see more people come forward that have had stuff, have been involved and had stuff perhaps done to them or said to them. But I mean, McMahon's toast. Like, even if, and I said this when you first brought this up, that, so long ago, is that even if with his age, even if if he gets sentenced to 10 years, that's a life sentence for somebody his age.
Yeah.
Like, he's toast. He's done. So,
Yeah, I mean, there's no wiggle room around this. This is no sitting down and talking about it, and I'm going to tell you this much, like Sarah brilliantly said with these text messages. These text messages were screenshotted. These text messages were screenshotted, and they're very explicit. They're very explicit. And when I read it on my show. I told you all that we're going to be explicit, and you all came at me. You came at me with all kind of comments and everything. Listen, I just read what is being produced. I'm an informist. I don't do those text messages. I don't believe in any of those things that Mr. McMahon did to women.
It's not like they were text messages off of your phone. I mean, come on now. And I said this to you when this first came about. I was like, come on.
I'm saying, so don't come for me unless I send for you. Anyway, anywho, but this is just I just can't
It
understand.
just keeps getting worse and worse, and I feel really bad for all these people.
I do, because the thing is
I feel bad for all these people.
They come out the woodwork, they say these things about Mr. McMahon, and then they have evidence. It's not like they came out and they don't have any evidence. These people have evidence. They got proof. These people got proof. It's not like you're going to come out there and say, this man did this to me, and then you don't have no proof. These people have legitimate proof. Right. These people have proof. In text messages, in emails, in everything else. And if you don't think people don't save things on a disk drive or a flash drive or what, you got another thing coming.
Even if, like, these text messages, let's say somebody were to have deleted the text message, the police, the authorities, they can still retrieve that stuff even after you've deleted it off of your phone. So, it's like they have the technology. That's why it always blows my mind with criminals these days. No matter what the crime is, it's like, what makes you think you're going to be able to get away from it? Don't you think that the police have, technology and, things to be able to figure stuff out? Like, they're not stupid.
Well,
they're not. Like,
they don't even need that. All they need is a warrant, and they can have the cell phone companies print out all those text messages.
Bingo.
Right.
Hey,
so it might be deleted off your phone, but they'll still have it.
Right. I mean, once it's sent, it's sent. It's out there. It's like
exactly. Right.
God,
it's just like if I sent Josh an email and I deleted it because I didn't want to send it to him. It's too late. He already got it, and it's in his database. It's in his computer. All he's got to do is just print out the email and say, "Yeah, you did send me an email. I have it right here."
Right.
It's just that simple. It's just that simple.
And how egotistical must somebody be to think they can do things like this and then not have any, get away with it and not have any kind of consequences or repercussions from it?
Right.
I mean, that's wild to me. Like, you really thought you were gonna, like, how long did you think this was gonna stay buried for? Like, we are, in the United States, we are a very litigious society, meaning people will sue you for anything, especially somebody with as much money as Vince McMahon. So what makes you think you're going to be able to get away with it?
And again, like I said, like you said, that's what I'm trying. And like you said, Sarah, brilliantly. Nowadays in workplaces, you got to be careful what you say to and how you say it to a woman, how you say it to a man, how you say it to the company executive. You've got to watch your words because people will twist it around and they'll think you're meaning something when you really didn't mean what you said. So you have to be careful what language you use and how you deliver it and how you display it.
Trust me,
Because
I work in HR. I know that all too well.
well, right. You have to be careful what language you use in the email, what you said over the telephone, what you said in person, how you conduct yourself with the person. So you have to be very careful and walk on eggshells and be very careful on what you say because those words will come back to haunt you. Um, Unfortunate,
Yeah.
yes, and that's the fact of life. Um,
Crazy.
so before we say goodnight to everyone, I want to see what the chat is saying. Or what's the chat saying tonight? Sarah, if you could brilliantly pull up the chat, I would greatly appreciate it. Um, okay.
He said, hitting the like to show support. Thought this was the video on how to use the claw on your fellow wrestler tutorial. Just kidding. Keep up the good work, everyone. That was funny.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
And then Grandizer said the same thing, or he made another comment. We were just talking about the police and investigating, and he said the police do, but do they really want to? Talking about like finding evidence, investigating. Just depends on the crime. I just can't believe the police will treat every crime as if it's in a CSI TV show. Otherwise, crimes will be getting solved a lot. Well, that I get that.
Well,
yeah, that's
there's a
true.
difference between the police and the DOJ.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, there's a difference.
If they're putting this kind of money into this investigation, best believe they're doing, and it's the DOJ. They can get a warrant like that.
Anything. Yeah.
Right.
Right. So, I mean, difference between police might not, but the DOJ will. Like I said, if they want a guy, they're going to get him. And they're building the case and all the evidence.
Mm-hmm.
So,
they have a lot more, I think, resources at their disposal as well. I would think they would have a lot more resources.
Oh, for sure.
All right.
But let's see, what else do we have? Ram, we already saw his stuff. Nick's stuff. We saw this one. Well, Tyler said when we were talking about Raw before, he said Raw is better than SmackDown now.
All right, Tyler.
I kind of would have to agree with that. Raw's getting, it's a little bit better than SmackDown. But what was really telling that we didn't talk about when we were going over Clash at the Castle was Solo Sikoa coming out as Cody was leaving.
Yes. Yes.
Solo coming out and he and Cody started going at it, and then you got Kevin Owens and Randy Orton coming out, and Randy Orton was eyeing up that title of Cody's. So I think we might see something change in that. It might be Cody Rhodes or it might be Randy Orton going after Cody Rhodes and the undisputed title. I think at SummerSlam, I think something might change, and we might
right.
that happen.
I'm glad that you brought that up, Sarah, because last night, I believe on Dynamite, I did mention that there was a photo that was surfaced. There's two photos that were surfaced by the WWE. First photo they showed was Money in the Bank, and we all know Solo is going after Cody for the title at Money in the Bank. So that match will be made official, I believe, tomorrow night on SmackDown. Then they showed another photo of SummerSlam, and they showed Orton going after the title with Cody. So I'm gonna be on the same wavelength with Sarah, and I'm gonna say that they're going to fight for that crown some point, or either on Raw or SmackDown. The rematch is going to happen. Orton is going to win the crown, and Gunther's going to be out of it, and Orton will be dancing with Cody at SummerSlam. I believe that's what they're going to. I believe that's the road they're going to be traveling on. But we're going to wait and see if when that unfolds, and see if it does unfold, and see if we're going to, because there is an asterisk next to Gunther's title, and there is an asterisk because Orton really didn't get pinned in the match. His shoulders was clearly off the match, and the referee botched the move, and he botched the pinfall, and it needs to be addressed. So when are we going to address it? That's a good question. So that is up to Triple H and his crew, and we're going to see what happens.
Well, I think it'd be perfect, right? Because we're building up to WrestleMania while it's just now Clash of the Castle. It's June. We got well less than a year before WrestleMania, before Rumble, right? Money in the Bank coming up. So let's go ahead. We did the long-term storytelling with Cody and Roman for 2 years to build that up as much as possible.
Right.
It builds up Cody's championship run more. Beating Gunther or beating Randy Orton, the Legend Killer, the Viper. I mean,
right.
So
I vote for Orton.
Right. So let's have Cody Rhodes beat Orton, build up his championship, and get that to the level that it's gonna need to be at for next year's WrestleMania. So,
right.
Yeah.
I am
Orton there.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree. Like I said, there is an asterisk next to Gunther's crown, and it needs to be addressed. Now Mac said to me on Saturday when we were doing the Clash of the Castle, they're trying to make us forget the Gunther thing and but you can't forget it. You really can't erase it from your mind. We all saw what happened, and clearly it was an injustice there. I mean, there's just no wiggle room around that, and that needs to be addressed. That needs to be fixed. So, I mean, why not do it on WWE TV? You either do it on Raw, do it on SmackDown, pull the trigger, and have these two fight it out for the crown, and Orton wins the crown. I mean,
I agree.
So that is going to do it for the wrestling experience. That's going to do it for our show. But again, Josh, I want to thank you so much for coming on the wrestling experience. You were absolutely brilliant tonight. We had fun with you. It was your debut and everything, and you did a home run, as always, a grand slam. You were absolutely great. And I had fun with you. John, just let me ask you a question. How can everybody find you on social media, and tell them about it?
So you can find me, Lace 'em Up Sports Media. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Twitter. I'm on YouTube. Pretty much all the social media tools that we have, and you can find me there. Just look up Lace 'em Up Sports Media. Look up Joshua Frazier. You can find me just about everywhere. So
I like that. All over the Mr. Social worldwide.
Absolutely. You got to nowadays.
Yeah, you got to. You have to spread yourself all over the social media platforms if you want to get recognized. Yes. And your media company, what is exactly is that name? Like what is it? What is it you do?
So really I cover just about almost all sports.
Oh,
I
cool.
cover WWE, obviously, football, basketball. I'm starting to get into baseball. Really anything that's a sport. I'm either already pretty knowledgeable from watching it my entire life, or I'm getting into it because I want to cover it. So college football,
Awesome.
that's a big one too. So, I'm a Texas boy,
And I-
so I like sports.
Oh, okay. And what part of Texas are you?
San Antonio.
Oh, okay. Okay. Hey,
I've been to
that's
San
cool.
Antonio before. It's
That's
nice.
cool.
I loved it down there. It's really nice down there.
Oh, it's
The only,
beautiful. It's great.
the only part of Texas I've been to is Houston. I've been to Houston.
A couple times.
Yeah,
It's nice there,
that was a
too.
lot of fun. Yeah, it's nice. It's nice. Houston is great. They have great hospitality down in Houston. They treat you well down there. How far are you from Houston, Josh?
I'm about 3 hours away. So
Yeah,
Okay.
San Antonio, I think, is southwest from Houston.
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Okay.
you can take
So-
I-10 straight through basically.
Yeah.
But so not too far. I mean, I guess I don't know. 3 hours is a day trip for Texans. 3 hours. But yeah, no. So I grew up watching the Spurs. I'm a Cowboys fan, Rangers fan. I mean,
Oh gosh,
so
the Cowboys.
So let me. How about them Cowboys, huh?
it'll be interesting this year.
Yeah, I remember once. I remember one time on the Raw watch along with me and Jeffrey, we had Nick on, and Nick was debuting on the show, and I remember Nick come to me and he says, he's a Steelers fan, and I said, okay, and your point is. He was a little nervous. He was a little nervous because of a Steelers fan. Because you never know. I mean, we're a Giants fan. We're up here in New York, and and everything, and we all have rivalries and everything like that with the Cowboys and the Steelers and the this and the that and the Pittsburgh, and it all worked out well. It worked. Packers,
Yeah,
yes,
definitely.
Packers, yes, yes, Lambeau Field, all of things. Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've got a bit of a rivalry for sure.
Oh yes.
Not
Yes.
so much. It hasn't been so much of a rivalry lately with the Giants, but definitely with the Packers.
Oh yes.
Yeah,
Big time.
we've got you. I'll tell you what, though, I feel like you've got some major payback coming when it happens.
Oh,
It's
wow.
gonna be bad. I'm telling you.
Well,
Yeah.
I think Sir is going to put on that football helmet and pretend she's Hulk Hogan and run you over. Anyway.
I'll put my cheese head on. I'll put my cheese head hat on. Seriously, we have hats here that look like wedges of cheese. People
Yep.
wear them
Oh.
to football games all the time. Actually, it was
Yeah.
really funny when I went to San Antonio, leaving the airport, so like getting out of the plane and everything, walking to the entrance of the airport. I can't tell you how many people I saw in the airport that were wearing Packer jerseys, Packer shirts, or hats, or even I saw one guy had the cheese hat on, and it was just, oh my gosh, it made me laugh so hard. I couldn't believe it. I was like,
Green
I'm
Bay
not in
travels well.
Wisconsin. I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
not even in Wisconsin anymore. Like, what is this? Oh, I was
Yeah.
very surprised. I was very
Well,
surprised when I
especially-
saw all that.
I think Packers fans really travel well when they're going to Dallas during the playoffs because
Oh,
it's
yeah.
a chance to get out of the cold weather and the snow.
Right.
Because
Right.
you don't get that in Texas often. So
No.
No, not at all.
not
No.
surprised.
No, not at all.
But yeah, no, I think it'll be a good season. So
Yeah, I'm.
they
Oh.
they do actually. I didn't cover them this season. I know they made it to the championship game. They got shut out. It's the Brahmas in San Antonio, which I think is great. I love it. But I'm hoping next year I can get into that and, start covering the San Antonio Brahmas maybe next year and see how that goes. I just started this company up this year. So, baby
cool.
steps. So
Yeah, well, what was the question?
I appreciate it.
That
Thanks.
was nice. Thank you.
Very nice.
Good. I'm glad.
Yeah, you did, Josh. You did a home run, and again, we want to thank you again for coming on the Wrestling Experience. This won't be the last time you'll be on this show. Oh no, we'll beam you back up on this mothership, and we're gonna do it all over again. So thank you again for your time and your energy. We greatly appreciate it. Now, a programming note, I'm going to be back in cyberspace just 24 hours with Mr. Nick and I will present to you Friday Night SmackDown from Rosemont, Illinois. We're going to have that show. What was it? What was it?
He said, Josh, when an NFL season starts, next time you are on the show, please wear your cowboy hat for your Cowboys. Oh.
I got you.
I love that.
I love that. I love that. So we're gonna have Friday Night SmackDown on this tomorrow night on the Hardcore Sports. Me and Nick will present to you Friday Night SmackDown, and then Sarah and I will see you again in cyberspace next Wednesday for AEW Dynamite. Dynamite will happen next Wednesday night here at the Hardcore Sports. And Sarah, I want to thank you for your time and energy. I hope you have a great weekend. Enjoy the weekend. Thank you so much, Sarah. And Josh, I hope you have a good weekend. And thank you so much. And I hope everyone has a good time this weekend. And thank you all so much for watching the Wrestling Experience. I'm Earl Cole, and that'll do it. I'll see you tomorrow night for SmackDown.
Now with the hottest show in the universe, the Wrestling Experience, with your host Earl Cole.
Acknowledge me.
Coming at you with all the dope shit, freshest WWE content, and also the AEW. You are now watching The Experience, the Wrestling Experience. Now with your host, Earl Cole.
That's a great